Hello. Hello. Oh, that's in the way. I'm going to knock something over, I can just tell. All right. Coffee. Ow, that's hot. It didn't snow last night. Well, maybe it did, but all I see is frost on the ground. That's a good sign. 3, 2, 1. Ah, come on, move. That's where I want this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Well, last night was the reattempt at Whistlekick Live, the episode 8, the 8th time we've done this monthly show, and it was, I think, the best one yet. The upgrade to the internet definitely fixed all the problems that we were having, and then some. We were able to broadcast in HD and a higher frame rate. It all went better. Yay! Very exciting. And so now, because of that, we'll get to experiment moving forward with increasing quality even more and doing more things and all that. So, shout out to Gabe for all his hard work. Shout out to everybody who popped by. We averaged 10 people, I would say, through the hour. And some of those people came in and out. So, yeah. And that was without really any promotion of the show because I wanted to make sure we get it right. And we'll promote it a little heavier next month. If you missed it, you can check it out. It'll be on YouTube this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll be uploading it today, and we'll set the premiere. So, you know what else happened yesterday? I filmed the videos for the speed development program. I think they went well. I only had to do a few takes of a few of them. Most of them came out well with one take. And you know what? I'm not even going to edit them. I want to get this thing out there. I'd rather put it out there and have people say, oh, I get to see Jeremy hit stop on the phone than spend the time. I want this thing done. I want the first draft done. I want it out there so people can use it. And I'm reminded by something Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, said. He said, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you waited too long to release it. I'm a little embarrassed by some of these things, but we're going to release it. You know why? You know why this is so important to me? Because as soon as we get the speed one out, then I get to work on the speed strength combination. Yes, we will have a separate kind of modified program for people who have purchased both because people will want to work on both. How do you do that? You can't just follow the directions and do that because they're designed to stand on their own. Now we get to start combining them. And I think that this is going to be some of the secret. You buy these core elements, and then depending on what you buy, here are the different ways you can combine them to achieve maximum results. Coffee's tasty. What else happened yesterday? I went for a walk, watered some plants, did a bunch of email. I did so much email yesterday morning. Oh man, I plowed through my email. It was great. It was a wonderful feeling. I was very happy about it. And what am I doing this morning? Oh, this morning got to do a couple Thursday episodes because the one that comes out tomorrow is the only one that we have sitting. Episode 501 is recorded, and there's no 503. There's no 505. I think live is going to become 508, 507, maybe. But got to record a couple episodes. And those Thursday episodes, I like doing them, but they require a certain mindset. For me to sit down and just riff on a subject, even to come up with the outline, even to come up with the subject, can be really challenging for me. Because I'm not quite sure what to talk about. And sometimes I come up with a topic and I sit down and say, okay, what would I say about this? And I'm not sure what I would say. There are literally dozens of topics that I've said, oh, I should do an episode on this. And they're just sitting there with nothing to do. Oh, I just had an epiphany. That may or may not work. We might have somebody on the team who can do this, but I don't know that I want to do that. We used to have somebody who would research and write a script for an episode every month, and his name was Lester. And Lester even helped me organize the structure for the Martial Artist Handbook. So shout out to Lester. He got married and is spending more time with his family, so he's not working with us anymore. But I really appreciated all of his hard work while he was it about a year? Maybe it was more now. Good man. Episode 500 continues to get attention, and people are saying great things about it. I'm hoping, there are a few videos that didn't make it in, that came in late, and I'm hoping to do an addendum today. We'll see how that goes. Gabe says, here's a Thursday topic, music and the martial arts. Great topic, but what do I say? I could talk on that for about 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know that I could go further. Because once you talk about capoeira, and you talk about, I can talk about my experience with playing music in classes, and how that impacted people's energy levels and things. I don't know what else to say. See, it's a subject I would need to do research on, and that's not what Thursday shows are right now, because I don't have time. It needs to be a subject that I don't need to put in a couple hours reading and digging around on. It's got to be something that can fall out of my head. Anyway, so what's going on today besides words? What's going on today beyond that? Have a meeting with the new... Oh, we gotta come up with a title for her. Person in charge of books. Because there are so many books pending, so many books. We probably have more books out there than people realize. And we gotta start promoting them. We gotta really figure this out. This is important stuff. So, yeah. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got on yesterday. It's all I got on today. I'll coach some CrossFit tonight. I'll go outside. I'll move. I'll eat. Can this stuff be over yet? My days were monotonous as they were. They're really monotonous now. All right, let's see what we got for questions, for comments. Remember, if you want to ask me something, if you want to have me respond to something, drop it below in the comments and I'll respond tomorrow. Come on, wake up, tablet. Why is this thing being so sluggish? There's like nothing open. There it goes. No, I don't need to see your ads. Go away. Close. Inbox. This. All right. We got questions, comments today from Frank and Gabe. We'll start with Frank's. A true martial artist, in my books anyway, is someone who is going to do the right thing and lead by example. Duane Ludwig. I don't know Duane Ludwig, but I agree with this statement. A true martial artist is someone who's going to do the right thing and lead by example. I think we're finally getting to a point culturally where we're talking about martial artist as a warrior and not a fighter. And we've had some quotes, we see memes and things going around unpacking the difference. A fighter is someone who is useful in combat. A warrior is someone who is useful in any situation. I would like to think of myself as a warrior. Am I going to be useful in a combat situation? I'd like to think so. But if we think about the value of those skills, yes, they are incredibly valuable at certain times. But in the breadth of your life, it's what? Maybe 0.001% of the time. It's a very small percent of the time. Even if you are a professional soldier, if you are in the army, what percentage of your life involves actual combat? A small percentage. So unless fighting is your job, and I mean literally fighting in a ring is your job, how often are you going to use those skills? But what about being a warrior? A warrior is someone who has value all the time. And one of the things that a warrior provides is leadership. A leader goes first, to lead by example, right? These are all things that we know, but we don't always embrace. A leader should be the one demonstrating how to do things. Who's the leader in your martial arts school? It's the teacher. How many martial arts schools have teachers who don't lead? They show. There's a difference. I know plenty of martial artists, high-ranking martial artists, skilled martial artists, who won't demonstrate anymore because their skills are rusty, or at least they think they are. And they're afraid of people seeing them as less than the perfect illusion that they've presented. As a leader, a martial arts instructor will demonstrate that they make errors, and they own those errors, and they get better, and they have some humility. Leadership is an excellent quality for a warrior to have. And I think the best martial arts instructors are warriors. Because what does a warrior do? They're useful in battle. They teach others. They lead. But they're just as useful in peacetime. If you think about the traditions in Japan, you've got sword work, but you've also got calligraphy. How many things are out there that require discipline and attention to detail and provide value to the people utilizing them? Farming, growing your own food. I would imagine that a warrior would have farmland. Right? So don't underestimate the importance of leadership and other skills that we would find attributed to a true warrior. The best martial artist doesn't win fights, but avoids fights. Martial arts is a way of gaining basic self-mastery of your mind, body, and emotions. It can also be very useful in combat situations. Frederick Lenz. I don't know Frederick Lenz either, but I think I want to, because he just summed up my view on martial arts. I've said it in a bunch of different ways. This is a different way of saying it, but I completely agree. The only way to win a fight is to avoid it. People get so wrapped around the axle on how to win fights. How often does self-defense teach how to avoid a fight? I know very, very few martial artists who, when they teach self-defense, spend time teaching how to avoid it. Years ago, long before Whistlekick, I was featured on a podcast teaching people how to avoid fights. It wasn't even a martial arts podcast. I don't know if there were any martial arts podcasts back then. There probably were, but this was not one of them. I am not proudest of the fights I have won. I'm proudest of the fights I have avoided. I think that's a much more valuable skill. Who wants to get in a fight? It's a waste of time. Fighting is a waste of time. What was the second part? Mind, body, emotions. Martial arts is a way of gaining basic self-mastery of your mind, body, and emotions. Yes. If you train hard enough, you have to face your emotions. You will mess stuff up. People will hurt you. You will hurt other people. It's going to happen. There is an emotional toll that comes from that kind of training. You have to face it. You have to get better. The body part is pretty obvious. The mind part, fairly obvious. How do I learn? How do I get better at learning? How do I get better at doing all these things and remembering all these things and being able to focus on what's going on in front of me and being aware of what's going on around me? There's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. And this is what martial arts brings us. One more quote from Frederick Lenz. I don't really have a problem with the pain of life. Perhaps that is because I am a martial artist and I am used to dealing with pain. Or perhaps I adjusted to pain because there has been a great deal of it in my life. Pain is interesting. Pain is an amazing teacher. If you do something dumb or wrong, you may experience pain as a result. What is that pain teaching you? It's probably teaching you to not do that dumb thing or do that thing wrong. If you get kicked in the head, you probably did something wrong. There's a lesson there. Pain as a teacher is maybe the easiest instructor to remember their lessons. If you get kicked in the head, you're probably going to remember that more than if someone pulls their kick and says, I got you, or I could have gotten you, or you need to block. How many times if you're a high-ranking student, how many times have you worked with a new student and pulled your technique and tried to point it out and they dismissed it? Okay, I'll make sure the next one hits. There's a small part of me that, there's the cuckoo clock. The light is hitting the sensors. There's a small part of me that maybe enjoys is the wrong word, but I appreciate teaching that lesson. You didn't get me. Yeah, I did. I don't kick in the head. Not hard. If that goes off one more time, I'll get up and I'll turn it off. Listen to what the pain teaches us. Otherwise, it's just a waste. With the lineage of so many styles... All right, we're turning that off. I'm back! Did you hear my knees crack when I went over there? This comes in from Gabe. And shout out, thank you again to Gabe for all of his efforts with last night's show. Came out great. With the lineage of so many styles coming from mixed backgrounds, do you think there is a purely American martial arts style? I don't think there's a purely anything martial arts style. If you're going to draw lines around countries, I don't think it's possible. If you follow the general flow of martial arts and how it went from one thing to the next thing, you see that there's some origination, at least from what we consider martial arts today, around China, India, that area. And then as cultural influence spreads, it spreads. And we see martial arts move from there to Okinawa, to Korea, to Vietnam, to Thailand. It moved all around. And you can see some of that in the martial arts. And the martial arts of America, yeah, we did have a show, an episode with a gentleman who teaches a Native American martial art. David Lone Bear Senepass. Master Senepass? I'm blanking on his title, but I believe that was his name, Lone Bear being his native name. And I don't remember all the details, but I do remember feeling like, yes, there are some things that arose independently. For example, when we think about the development of fire, it wasn't that one person discovered fire and went around and told everybody else. People discovered fire independently in different places. Martial arts was discovered or developed independently in different places. But let's take it back to the thing that I say an annoying amount. There are only so many ways you can move the body, and only so many of those make sense in combat. If I have a hand, which is my most useful tool to strike, how many different ways can I orient this hand that it's not going to hurt me? I'm not going to strike this way. Maybe I strike with the palm. Maybe I strike with the back of the hand. Maybe I close the fist and I strike here or here or here. Now, how many martial arts have a punch? I'd say all of them. A back fist, all of them. Some kind of open hand, ridge hand kind of things. Most of them that I'm experienced with. So when we talk about a purely American martial art, it could be developed here, but what are the ingredients? Where did those come from? I think in order to have a purely American martial art, we'd have to have somebody born here who never experienced martial arts in culture or in practice and woke up one day and said, you know, I need to learn how to protect myself. I'm going to develop a system whereby I can defend myself. I don't think that's going to happen. Not today, anyway. So, bluntly, is there a purely American martial art? No. When people talk about the martial arts that are most often attributed to the United States would include kickboxing and American Kempo. American Kempo is closer to Kempo than it isn't. So what's Kempo? Kempo is not an American martial art. It's not even a Hawaiian martial art. It's, if you really look at Kempo, it's some amalgamation of Chinese and Japanese. So I don't think that qualifies. Kickboxing is probably the closest. And that's because it's a sport that was developed here with a certain rule set, and there are certain things that work best within that rule set. And if you think about the pioneers of kickboxing, they're Americans. It was Joe Louis, it was Bill Wallace, it was Jeff Smith, it was Don Wilson. Those are the four that come to mind pre-finishing my first cup of coffee. Now, I think a great exercise, regardless of the question, and I was talking to someone the other day who was feeling kind of stifled by what's going on with the pandemic and being trapped, and honestly, they were admitting to me they were feeling bored with training. And you know what? I get that. I can't wait to work with somebody else right now. I am so bored of kicking my door frames and punching and just moving in this small space. And I said, what would it look like if you developed your own style? Great thought exercise, and one that I think anybody can do, because that style is going to reflect you. Do you develop a very simple system with as few movements as possible? Do you have one form, 20 forms, no forms? It's probably going to reflect the strengths in your training and in your physical body. I would not develop a style that would be based around a lot of power. I am 5'7". I'm strong for my size, but I'm still 5'7". So I'm not going to be building things that are all about, bam, double axe into the back of the head kind of thing. My system would be based around movement and range and speed. So we haven't assigned homework in a while. It's not homework, but if you're feeling bored, grab a sheet of paper, jot that down, see what that feels like. Interesting mental exercise, because as Mr. Lenz said, there's a strong mental component to martial arts. Good stuff today, guys. Thank you. If you have questions, if you have comments, drop them below. I'll answer them tomorrow. Remember, we do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. here on YouTube, but feel free to watch it later. If you're new to the stuff that we do at Whistlekick, subscribe and turn on notifications, not just for this show, but for Martial Arts Radio and for all the other things that we do. If you want to support the things that we do, you can make a purchase at whistlekick.com. Use the code FIRSTCUP15 if you do, including the strength program. Or if you want to support us in a different way, patreon.com/whistlekick, and we'll give you even more content if you generously contribute $5 a month or more. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Peace.